Now, when I was in secondary school, I heard about Dele Udo, and it was his name was a bit confusing to us because I had friends. We used to discuss sports. Samuel Ogali from the old Imo State, now Abia State. Amaye Ibama from River State. Ovi Wanogo from the old Bendel State, now Delta State. And his name was Dele Udo. Dele sounded Yoruba. Udo sounded like the old Cross River State. So where was he really from? But Samuel Ogali believed he was from Imo State. How? But we later got to understand that was Udo, which is the Igbo word for peace, not Udo. But that's the story about Dele Udo. Actually, Undubisi Udo, who died in 1981. I don't know if you enjoy my stories. If you do enjoy my stories, then this is time to, like this post, like the page, follow, subscribe, do what you have to do. Now, Dele was an athlete who was born in Umuahia in the 50s. And he was a quarter miler. He did the 200 meters, the 400 meters for Nigeria. In the 70s, he got admitted into the University of Missouri in the United States, and he was excelling in his field. In 1976, he should have been part of the Olympic Games with Nigeria, but when a lot of countries pulled out of those games, he also failed to compete in the Olympic Games in 1976. But in the 1980 Olympic Games in Moscow, he got to the semi-final along with the likes of Sunday Uti, and he was that good. At the University of Missouri, his teammates were the likes of Sunday Uti, like I said, Inozede Bunike, I think Chidimo, his teammates. In 1981, he came back home to take part in trials with the Nigerian athletes in Jos. On return to Lagos at the NIS in Surulere, where all athletes were camped, including the Green Eagles were camped for a game they were preparing for. He came back late at night to Surulere camp, and there was no food at the athletes' canteen. And someone suggested, hey, Ojueleba is not too far from here. We could just drive to Ojueleba and get some food. And of course he did, hopped into the car. And on the way to Ojueleba, a policeman stopped his vehicle, which is normal, and harassed them. And Dele Udo, in his calm demeanor, said, I'm Nigerian like you, but I live in the US. In the US, no American policeman will harass citizens. They're always nice and kind to us. And the policeman said, oh, because you're coming from the US, you think you can talk down on us, you will not go back to the US alive. And shot him twice. That was how one of Nigeria's most promising athletes of the 80s was killed by a jealous policeman. It was the area boys at Ojueleba who heard it that ran to the stadium to say, they don't kill one of our people. And the likes of Felix Owolabi, the likes of Moses Pako, and some other athletes, Gordon Obasoge, who was his teammate at the University of Missouri, ran down to Ojueleba to see their colleague, who they were with a few minutes back, dead. I remember he was given a national burial, a state burial. He was buried. The funeral was held at the National Stadium in Lagos. It was live on TV, NTA. It was live on TV. And as a 9-year-old watching at home, I still remember the songs played by the military band, and they stuck in my head up till this day. And I see them as sad songs. That was how Dele Udo died. Not because he was a criminal, not because he did anything bad, because he came home to compete for his country and told the policeman, you should be nicer to people on the streets. Dele Udo died. We won't forget Dele Udo, another Nigerian killed by a reckless security agent.